promoting spaces for citizen participation and deliberation. Silvia, we can move on the presentation, please. To the agenda, yes. Our agenda today will have 4 main parts. And the first one, we will give a general introduction to this room and share some agreements to ensure that this will be a comfortable space for conversation and, of course, also for exchange. Then we will have the speakers, and they will give you a short presentation about themselves and their presentation. And also we will have a moment to exchange ideas through the questions most of you left us when you register. And in the third part, we will have a thematic exchange to discuss in depth the 2 main topics of the day. One is the methodological design, and the other one is the deliberation and decision making. And finally, the idea is conclude with some final reflection. This is the goals of the session. The idea of this space is build knowledge together about the design stage of a deliberative process. We want to also identify practices, tools, methodologies, strategies, and models of deliberative democracy in the Global South. And also we want this is to be a space from peers, talking to peers, to boost and integrate the knowledge across a regional approach, in this case, around the Demo.Reset project. We will propose you a few statements or rules to guarantee that this is will be an open space. The chat is always be available. You can write. We will read you, and also we want to integrate your observation and your comments to the conversation. To feel free to write whatever you want about it. Try to keep the microphone on mute and activate it only when you are going to speak, if it's possible, and connect your headphones to avoid maybe the noise outside. Also, if you feel free, and also if you can't, please turn on your camera. It's nice to see you and to feel that this is a conversation indeed. And also remember to use the raise your hand function. Also, we want to remember you. Other thing, can you move on, Silvia? Principles of the dialogue. Remember that we are talking with peers, so this is a learning conversation, but also an exchange between them. We are in permanent learning, so it's necessary to maintain this willingness to with the team and with the question we have. We want to build a safe communication space again, where we can respect the speech, the opinions, and listen carefully what the other want to say. And also we want to encourage to participants to interact, to ask questions, to tell about your experience. This is not only a talk from the speakers, this is an exchange for everyone, so feel free to interact and talk together. This is the team that we are going with you today. Silvia Remolina and I will be the hosting of this space, and Andrea Restrepo and Benias Brilla will be providing technical assistance and taking careful notes of all your contributions and comments. So we can start.
Okay, thank you, Meli. So, hello everyone. It's nice to see you all in here. First of all, I'm going to present all of our speakers from the session. So, we are moving along to Eastern Europe, to Serbia, and I'm going to present Aleksandra Ilijin. Correct me if I'm mispronouncing it. So she's dedicated advocate for participatory democracy, specializing in youth engagement and civic education. Since 2018, she has been leading school participatory budgeting initiatives in Novi Sad, empowering high school students to take an active role in decision making. She is also a governance committee member of People Powered, this global participatory democracy network, and she contributes to it to advancing civic participation worldwide. With her extensive experience in facilitation, Aleksandra has led discussions ranging from small group workshops to large-scale dialogues, including structured exchange between youth and UE representatives. And she is committed to training to next generation of facilitators, integrating innovative methods such as design thinking into participatory budgeting process. Thank you, Aleksandra, for being here. So I will move a little bit along with India, and then I will let you all speak. Although Joy hasn't joined us today. Oh, okay. I will move on Africa to Kenya with Daniel. So, Daniel Orogo. Thank you, Daniel. He is the Africa Regional Coordinator for Democracy Moves, a leading advocate for political inclusion and governance. In Kenya, the project coordinating lead for Civic Voices initiatives, a civic tech organizations promoting digital public participation. So the Civic Voices initiative has, over the last year, formally supported the Nairobi city government in carrying out public participation in the 17 wards, including the 5 informal settlements through the Civic Voices platforms. I'm trying, like to see it. And since its founding, the Langada Youth Network in 2020 in Kibera, Daniel has championed community development and democratic governance across Africa. Also, he is a fellow at the NDI Political Parties Leadership Institute and the Future Elect East Africa Public Leadership Program. So thank you so much, Daniel. It's nice to see you this year. It's been a while since we haven't seen you on these events. And I'm just going to move a little bit into Latin America with Silvia Cervellini from Delibera, Brazil. So after an executive career at IBOPI, for over 20 years, leading public opinion and market intelligence planning and service teams, Silvia became the co-founder and CEO of Delibera Brasil, and a cross-party organization that works to strengthen and deepen Brazilian democracy by promoting citizen deliberation. Silvia is a political scientist from the University of Sao Paulo with a master's degree in public opinion from the University of Connecticut. She co-authored the book What is Public Opinion, and more recently co-author of the article Mini Públicos e Inovação Democrática, Caso do Jardim La Pena, in the Brazil Journal of Social Sciences. So these three profiles are really, really, really enriching all of these democratic innovations across the global south. So we are really proud to have you all here discussing and bringing all your experiences to this collective exchange of experience sessions. So thank you all so much for joining us, and like to really enriching all of this process. So we are going to move along to the exchange time. So as we first said, the two topics we will address today on today's sessions are the methodological design of spaces for citizen participation and deliberative democracy. And then we are going to move on to the deliberation and decision-making spaces. So for this first section, methodological design, we want to Aleksandra and Joy, who couldn't really join us today, but we are going to focus mainly on Aleksandra's process. We want you to delve into how you have designed your models of deliberative democracy and how for you to get your organization and approaches and strategies for this designing methodologies.
Precision for the speakers to remember you that you have between 8 and 10 minutes to complete your presentation, and then it will help us with playing a sound to indicate that the time it's ending. So only to clarify this. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Aleksandra, so sorry. I just wanted to let you know that you will be hearing this sound. Please let me know.
Sure, it's okay.
Yeah, you have 2 minutes left, and when your time is up, you want to hit.
Thank you. So hello everyone. I hope you can all hear me well. As Silvia introduced me, I'm Aleksandra, and I'm working for Opens, and the Opens is actually the youth association from Serbia, based in Novi Sad. And what we actually do is regarding participatory democracy is mainly focused on participatory budgeting in schools. So as you can see, some of the numbers that we are very proud of is that since 2018, we managed to include 16 high schools in Novi Sad. Those are public high schools, and it's all public high schools from Novi Sad. And what we are mostly actually proud of is that we are now reaching for 14,000 students that have been involved either as the ones who were proposing some changes and projects, or the ones who were voting and had the benefits of those projects. So maybe we can go to the other slide. Yeah, sure. So how we actually are doing it, because the methodology is my main focus today. So we are actually, we were exploring a bit, and then we learned that maybe design thinking methodology is actually the best for us. Why? It's because it has iterations, and after each iteration you actually have a space for deliberation, and it was really important for us. So after each iteration, students who are involved in mapping issues and proposing some solutions for it, they actually have a lot of they have a space to go back to the community. Their community consists of students, teachers, and parents, so they have a space to actually go further and dig deeper and realize if the solution, if the map problems are actually the ones that are important for everyone to be solved, and to make sure that a community is the one that we are thinking of when we are speaking about proposing our ideas for solutions, but also to have a little bit of expert knowledge may be included from parents and from teachers, how those problems can be solved. And as you can see, I tried to not to overwhelm this slide with photos, but what we do is actually introducing a lot of tools into practice, and where we can actually have a deliberation. And apart from design thinking, which is methodology that we use Lego education. We are now in a process of actually getting a certification so that it can be really on board with all the Lego propositions. But we and also arts and crafts and 3D printing, because we want young people to show everything they know and how and to express themselves and be free to use different tools, because not everything suits for each person. So we try to incorporate a lot of different things. I put specifically voting, even though there is voting in every participatory budgeting process. For us, it's very important because in high schools, seniors in high schools are actually the ones who have the right to vote, because they are adults, they're 18 plus. And that this is how we actually introduce them into the world of decision-making processes in our local community or national level. And it's very important for them, because we have, and it is a box still, because in Serbia we do still vote with ballots and boxes. We do not have any kind of innovation for that. But it's really important for them, because they feel very, very in charge of the process. They feel ownership, and they feel like they are actually bringing to life their proposals, but also they are bringing, they are deciding, and that's the most important thing for us. Maybe go to the next slide. So, one previously. Okay, yeah, it's combined. Okay, so how we actually manage to do this program for now almost 7 years is that we schools are our partners, and we invest a lot of time in building these partnerships. because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do it properly, because we can, without schools, we wouldn't actually have the decision making process on board, only some educational or trial processes. But schools are very important. At the beginning, it was very difficult to establish partnerships. It involved a lot of meetings, a lot of presentations, a lot of convincing that this is the right way to go, and that there are a lot of benefits for the school itself if we introduce this program, and if they continue using participatory budgeting as a mechanism to involve students to make decisions. One of the main things that we have established is that we have teachers as PB champions, and those are people who are now involved for many years. And they are the ones who actually advocate among students, because and educate students about the possibilities of PB. Because students change, they finish school and leave, but we need someone who is there permanently and who will be, we say a bit, who will defend the process, because I'm not sure what are the educational systems and backgrounds in your countries, but in ours it's very traditional, it's very rigorous system where students are not perceived as ones who are able and capable to make decisions, and it's very important for us to have teachers who are those who are the ones who actually advocate for the process. Sometimes it can be the best solution for you to have. Sometimes it's very, very challenging. It depends on the school, on the person. It's not sometimes it's not the champion is not really the one who you were thinking of. It's someone who you never thought it would be, but it's life, and that's how all processes are made, actually. The other very important thing for us was to have external facilitators. So those are people who are not open staff, not teachers, but people who are ready to invest their time into helping students and supporting them throughout all stages of the process, to be sure that to reassure them that what they do is very important and that it's respected, and that it has actually benefits for them and for other students as well. And safe space. Throughout the years, we realized that sometimes staying in schools is not the best solution, because what I said previously, there are different approaches to these processes, and we realized that because we have a youth center where we are working from, that this is the safe space where the freedom of thought is actually respected and everyone is very welcome. And that's when we started bringing students into our youth center. So yeah, am I already done, or it's
2 minutes left.
2 minutes left? That's great. Okay, because I heard some noise before and I wasn't sure if it's 2 minutes. Okay, so yes, and as you can see, we work with everyone who wants to introduce PB in their schools. We do adjust a lot. All those methodologies and tools that we use, we reinvent the process each round, because we want to be the best it can be, and we want to be suitable for everyone to participate. So as we said on our slide, we leave no one behind. We try, and we have a lot of success actually in different schools with students of different abilities, and we provide spaces and chances for everyone to participate. So this is something. I cannot tell you exactly the recipe for success. It's just throughout the years we are constant, and we are here with the same message. And I think that's the best approach to build the trust with students and with schools. With students, the most important thing was that they saw that all the voted projects and ideas actually been implemented, and that we are making sure we are making all the efforts to see those ideas live, even when those students finish school and go for the university, but to actually be be there for next generations. So I think I said the most important things, and I'm looking forward to hear questions. And I will be here till the end of the session today. So yes, feel free to ask me anything that comes to your mind.
Great. Thank you so much, Aleksandra. We encourage the people who want to participate with their own question. And meanwhile, you think about your intervention and your question for Aleksandra. We have two first interaction to go deep around the methodology strategies you use. And we want to know from you what have been the most effective methodological strategy in identifying and engaging participants with different perspectives or backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as I said, we build a lot of trust and put a lot of effort in having teachers as PB champions, because first of all, those are people who students know very well, and they already have some build trust or relationship with the teachers. So they actually are the strongest link to students, but also we had this advantage. We had Open started as an organization that was in charge for all the program, to lead the program of European Youth Capital that our city had the title in 2019, and we had the resources to be very visible and known among young people in our city. So when we introduced something like this, we already had some kind of trust build with young people from our city, but not as much with this program, because as I said, adults are not really weren't very welcoming to give the decisions to be done by students, and a lot of old school methodologies, a lot of meetings, but also we were very prepared. We gathered a lot of information from the region. We gave a lot of examples from other countries, how it can be done, and we at the very beginning we started our conversation with people powered, and we gathered a lot of knowledge from them. And also we use a lot of resources from the online resource center on their website, and a lot of your examples actually from South America and from countries that are in Serbia, you have this opinion among decision makers that everything that's coming from the West is not very popular. So we try to go beyond and try to go to the countries that have similar political system or similar, or they are in the similar situation as ours, and show them that this can be done and there is nothing to be afraid of, and that actually the students who have power in their hands, to say like that, are the ones that are most loyal to the school, and that actually it is shown after that that they are the ones who are taking care of the school the most, who are trying to make it the best experience while you're in school. So yeah, it's all about hard work, building the trust. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but and one thing also, we weren't afraid to work with schools and to be fully inclusive in a way that, as you can see from my last slide and photo, we weren't afraid of inclusion. Sometimes people are afraid because they're not sure if their methodologies or they're capable enough to work with everyone and to be really inclusive. But we said, yes, we're gonna do it, and actually we are now having the best experiences.
Great, Aleksandra. Thank you so much for that insights. I think so. Those are very important elements to create a general methodological that help us that spaces will be productive and enlightful for the young people. We have another question. This is from Jose Alejandro Larios Barrientos, who is here actually in this meeting, currently, sorry. So I will read it, but Jose Alejandro, if you want to add something else to clarify this intervention, and you are welcome to do it. He asked, who can participatory methods remain methodological rigorous, while at the same time be flexible and practical enough to influence key political moments. It should be political moments or circumstantial moments. We know that Serbia in this moment lives a very critical situation with a lot of strikes around the government and political context. So we would like to know, how do you handle this situation, trying to keep the rigorous of the methodology and also try to involve young people around this currently context in Serbia? I don't know. Wow. If Jose Alejandro want to add something about it, but
yeah, sure, feel free. Okay. Well, yeah, the political situation is very challenging for now, and especially because all the protests and all the movement is based on student movement right now. The schools are blocked by students and also the universities. So no one actually is attending school, and no one is actually allowed to enter the school building except students. So for right now, we are not in a position to do any program actually or project. But what we've seen is that a lot of students who were participating in participatory budgeting program are now the ones who lead these protests. They are very well informed, and they seen how participation and deliberation actually can bring benefits. And what they are doing now is on the national level, not just in Novi Sad, They are actually calling citizens to take part in participatory mechanisms that are, for now, unfortunately for us, not a lot of them are constitutional or in some kind of a law. So some of them cannot be introduced, but some kind of citizens assemblies, not the ones that we are know that we know of and advocate for, but as some kind of it are taking place. So yes, right now there is no participatory budgeting in schools, but there is a legacy of the program because students are empowered and are now leading the change. And I think that's our best benefit that we could hope for in to see actually in schools. They at the same time can be flexible. I'm not sure how to answer differently than this, because we are in a situation that we are every day we are learning something new and everything is changing from day to day. So I cannot tell you anything more than this, but I will be willing to follow up after this, hopefully, and soon, and we see some results that we want to see. So, yes, but to summarize, everything that students lead and all the movement is based on participatory democracy mechanisms, and they're advocating for participation, citizen participation. So I would say not just opens, but everyone that are advocating for participatory democracy is doing a good job in Serbia.
Thank you, Aleksandra. So I see that we have a few questions on the chat. Right now, we're going to move along with the second, the second topic that we want to delve on this session. So if you want to answer them by chat, or maybe at the end of the session, we can have a extra moment to exchange. So let's go. So for this second section, we will delve into the moment of conversation and deliberation. And finally, the decision making. So we will look at some strategies for encouraging conversation and how to finally reach agreements that are meaningful or representative or of the participants. So we will have, first of all, the case of Delibera with Silvia, and then we will listen to Daniel Taruk.
Hello. Can I
Hi,
start?
Silvia. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. It's good to be here. So I'm Silvia Cervellini. I'm co-founder of Delibera. We started in 2017 to promote this form of participation, the mini publics and citizens assemblies here in Brazil and in the region. So far, we have done 20 experiences here in Brazil at the municipality level, because it was our strategic decision, especially during Bolsonaro's government. We thought that it would be much more productive to use the democratic life in the cities to up the resilience, democratic resilience, and then with these 20 experiences, I think what I would like to share with you is that it works very well. We know that, but we are in a moment where we are searching for, oh, I think there is a question Ivana has raised her hand.
No, sorry. I will ask later. Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying, but I'll just wait till you finish. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And then we are in a moment where we know that it works, that citizens want and can and should help to make public decisions, but in an informed way and in a consequential way. But we are in a moment where we are reflecting about how to assure that the citizens' recommendations are implemented. And this is our current challenge, I think. I think our next stage of work will be not only disseminating the practice, but also making it more effective. That's why I asked about impact measuring to Aleksandra, because I think it's our mission, as in the, especially in the Global South, to show and prove that with these democratic innovations, people's lives get better. That's, I think, what we should, and that's why I think we can go to the next slide. And that's why I chose two cases to share with you, talking about decision making, because I think they reflect a lot our way of working with the decision making and citizens deliberation. I think it's important to start saying that sometimes people think that an open-ended process, like asking people what do they want, what should be done in an open-ended way, is more democratic. But talking about citizens' assemblies and mini publics, they are not the best way, and we think that it's more democratic to really put people in the right place to make decisions and make choices and have strategic views of where they want to go, what they want to do, what's best for them. So to do that, we developed this methodology. The first case, it was 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. We were planning to do the mini publics in person, but we had to adapt for virtual mini publics, and it worked. It was great. We were doing this participatory stage of a whole program in São Paulo City called Reage São Paulo, turning the game of inequality in the city, in partnership with two NGOs, Fundação Tite Setúbal and Rede Nossa São Paulo. And when we were thinking about this, the mission of the mini publics would be to deliberate on budget allocation for their districts, 2 districts of São Paulo, with about 20,000 people, no, 200 people, 200,000 people each one. And these two districts were invited, were recruited to deliberate about how to spend the budget that was predicted in a redistribution of the city budget. This they had like about 5 million reais, it would be $1 million, to distribute in their districts for the next 4 years. And so what we did, it was about like, we had to, they would have to choose between like more kilometers of bike track or more people in a childhood equipment, public equipment. So the choices were so spread, so complex, so integrated, that we thought the best way would be to developing a scenarios game, like that would allow for strategic choice, strategic deliberation. So the consultants, we had consultants, in urbanists, public budget experts, and also thematic consultants. They analyzed all the actions that were possible to respond to the challenge of each territory, and they organized like more than 100 actions in each territory with costs, technical expectations, specifications. So this would be the cards of the game. And so the mini publics got this informative platform organized in 3 scenarios. Each one had a political choice in it. Like one was more devoted to mobility. So the people in the territories would be easier to go to the center of this downtown. The other was more like better living conditions in the districts, the priority. And the other one was more like income, employment generation, and educational actions in the district. So they had kind of political views, different views of future. And the mini publics finally deliberated, and they mixed and created a 4th scenario that would be more adequate for their district. So they make choice, and they were deliberating between different actions until it got to the 500 million reais for their district. So the use of scenarios helps participants with no previous experience in public management to have a perspective of what's possible to do or not with a certain investment, giving a more concrete character and at the same time a strategic intentionality for the values in the budget. You can learn more about this project on our website. The second case I want to bring is totally different, is the Bujaru Citizens Assembly. We were part of Resurgentes, is in partnership with colleagues from Argentina, Colombia, Instituto, Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, and we developed a cycle of climate assemblies in 4 different Latin American cities. And in Brazil, Delibera always knew that we had to do in the Amazon, because if we are talking about difficult decisions in climate change, we know that Amazon is the epicenter for that. So we wanted to do it, and we did an open call for cities in the Amazon who wanted to do a climate assembly, and we received 16 manifestations, and we chose Bujaru because Bujaru is an example of the dilemmas that a city in the Amazon is facing. And the topic was about how to develop the city with dignified life for their citizens, but preserving the forest, preserving the nature, preserving their way of life. Bujaru is an agricultural city, but with family and community traditional agriculture. So I think the most, I brought this case because they gave a letter of recommendation. In February, we had a public event in the city hall. It was great in the city council. The citizens were there, the members of the assembly. But I think they had many recommendations for actions, specific actions for their city. But I think the most important decision they made was that we have agreed on a series of recommendations. We emphasize the need to preserve our environment and way of life. Bujaru is a family farming municipality and wants to continue to be so. Oil palm, soybeans, and other monocultures are not alternatives for Bujaru. So they made this choice. And any project that goes to Bujaru without following this, we are working with them and supporting them with people power grants to follow up on this deliberation and try to make sure they will They will be heard in any public policy and decision and infrastructure project in Bujaru for the next years. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Silvia. We invite all the participants who have questions for Silvia Cervellini to put them in the chat. We will give the floor to Daniel, but the idea is at the end of Daniel's presentation, we will open a space to talk about this question and your comments from the Silvia's and Daniel presentation. Okay, so please put your question in the chat, your comments also, and Daniel, you can continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melissa. I think it's good listening to my two colleagues present their work before. I also just like to, on a lighter note, appreciate that Silvia Molina's English has just tremendously improved for the time being. You know, I really enjoy her speaking. It was very difficult some years ago to, you know, to speak to Silvia Molina, but the English now is good. Yeah, so thank you. So I don't know whether I have a dedicated questions or just to go through the slide as my colleagues.
Through the slides.
So thank you. The Civic Voices platform is a civic tech in governance program that has supported the government of Nairobi. That is the city government of the capital city of Kenya to carry out meaningful, inclusive, and accountable public participation. So generally, those four elements was inclusive, meaningful, accountable public participation. So I think that is where our impact are. So ours is just for giving the critical voices space through technology. And we do that through Civic Voices web app and Civic Voices mobile phone application. So these two particular Civic Voices platform has been very key in supporting the county. In future and maybe later, so that Instituto share the resources, would personally share the links to the platforms and the aggregated data of the mobile phone reach. But yes, we have from 2020 engaged 35,000 actively. And why we have said we have saved 14.4 million shillings, that could be translated to some dollars. Now, the county government or the government at large in Kenya has announced constitutionally, because we have a robust constitution, so the government is compelled that they must carry out public participation. In doing so, that they have to advertise it on 4 public magazines nationwide. So our contention has been, what are these 4 national magazines? So that is also a critic, because in your own countries, you don't know what the magazines are. So how do you know this one is the most public magazine? So we requested them to use the Civic Voices app, because in using the magazines, it means that the county pays millions to advertise. So the Civic Voices platform has, ever since we started in 2020, has saved them this kind of money for the government, and that is why we have a formal partnership with the government of Nairobi, because we are using the platform to save the cost of public participation. And we have also influenced 2 policies. The latest one that we have influenced is the one that reviews the public participation bill for the county government that will be discussed in the legislature. And we have also trained 120 government officers. So this is what I was going to address, I think, in the previous slide, maybe here, of the challenges of technology. Sorry, just go back. On the challenges of technology, because technology in itself is not a solution to everything. Using technology for public participation is supportive. So in Kenya, like I've said, many citizens are expressing barriers like transparency, accountability, and that is what we've come to fill the gap using the civic voices. So what challenges are there? I would want to draw to your attention, maybe you know, that technology has aided public participation in Kenya nationally or wide. So you have all seen last year around June 25th, when the young people of Kenya rose in arms and hold the government to account, what has popularly been known as Gen Z movement in Kenya. I think maybe you have encountered that, where young people using technology forced the president of the Republic of Kenya to withdraw the finance bill in the parliament and return it back, and also to sack a number of cabinet ministers that were deemed corrupt. So this is what young people in Kenya leverage through this technology to hold the government to account. But for us, we are using it at the local government in the Nairobi city. So technology has received the challenges for us. Like I've said, most of public officials do not still understand how technology works. So what is these civic voices they keep asking? So even as we had to identify the 120 from 2 departments of government to train them on digital literacy, because this was the only important of buying in and knowing and facilitating the platforms in the public participation in the 17 wards of Nairobi. So that is how the challenges, one of technology is awareness. The other one is because of security. Like I've said, I'm going to share with the Instituto to share when they do the report. So in our application platform, technology, there is safe measures, because one of the reasons why we are using technology is because previously in-person public participation, government could plant people around so that they silence the voices during public participation. But through technology, I think it's difficult, because then we're also asking people to register in the platform anonymous. So you can express your opinion, but nobody knows who exactly is this expressing. So our solution, I think that I've said that Civic Voices has enabled cut the costs for the government in terms of advertising or in terms of carrying public participation. They have also made that the government can now not be sued, because it's a legal requirement for public participation in Kenya. So Civic Voices platform has helped Nairobi County to provide data and evidence that they indeed did public participation through technology. And another solution I think we've also offered is persons with disability who cannot walk to those particular places where public participation is announced, they can now use the platform to give their voices at their comfort zone. And it's also inclusive of persons with disability, youth who definitely do not find time also to go for this platform. Next, as I conclude, I promise to be brief. So how they do it at Civic Voices. So Civic Voices, like I've said, it has 2 platforms. One is mobile phone technology that you register. Because of time, I hope I could have presented like in screen, but of course I would send this out. A video demo on how this works. So there is a registration where you register your details. If you don't want, you appear as anonymous for security. And thereafter, what methodology do we use? So Civic Voices, since we have a memorandum, official memorandum with the county government, is that they are compelled to send us their data. They are compelled to send us the information. Like if they want to announce public participation, they send us the information. We upload it on the platform, and then we seek for opinion from the residents. So in that sense, for example, they say on 17th of April, we'll have public participation in this ward. So we upload that on the platform and invite. If you have a memorandum, if you have your voices, then you put it there. And then if there are questions, we would later download that particular question and send back to the county for feedback. So then it works that way. And also we have Civic Voices ambassadors in the 17 wards that help us and Nairobi County government to facilitate public participation in those wards, either through the platform or either through in person. So that is how the platform works. Do I have any other slide or that's all? Yeah, so future plans finally is we have a plan to upscale. So what we always do, because we understand the issue around funding, so we have also majored in consultancy. So I think our future is just upscaling and partnership. Thank you. I've had the alarm bell. I don't know whether I have minutes or it's
You're still having 2 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, because I was just going to do that in a minute. Is that, you know, we have 47 county governments. We have supported the county government of Nairobi, the main capital government. So we have been approached with other county governments to pioneer that to other counties. And therefore, we now offered the Civic Voices as a consultancy. So if you check at our website for sustainability, we are now even venturing into consultancy to support other county governments. So the rest is just to carry out civic education. So Kenya is headed to election in 2027. So we have also started to see how then do we use Civic Voices for civic and voter education to just roll out public education for, for voter registration, for voter drive with the electoral agency. So this is one area that we are planning to venture in. I am grateful to Instituto for this particular platform and for People Powered and International Republican Institute for the support in the way we began and the process we are right now as Civic Voices. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for this delightful presentation. It was very nice to know how we can combine democratic initiatives to the tech with the strategies with technology. We have many questions in the chat, so I will give you the floor because we want to hear you. Ivana, if you want to ask in your own voice to Daniel this question, please open your microphone.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually working on developing some similar platform for Serbia, so I was interested in how much time you needed to make this work, to develop some first version.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I just take that or there's another question there? So Ivana, maybe as Melissa checks on the questions. So because of time, I couldn't mention that it took us around 1 year to have the ideation process, develop a prototype, present it. Actually, in 2020, after COVID, the first prototype presentation we had was with the Senate of Kenya. We had an opportunity to ask the legislatures because we assume that the legislature are representatives of the people. And because of government restriction, by that time, we couldn't gather people. So we approached the senators who serves at the Senate, the legislature of Kenya. So we presented the prototype. This is the Civic Voices, blah, blah, blah. This is what we have. This is the registration process. This is what, so we asked them, what do you think if this can support you or government in public participation? Because the Senate is the custodian of the local governments in Kenya. So I think it will take you a lot of, maybe, depending on the environment you are, maybe in some countries, that's restrictive civic space. I don't know how Bolivia is or your country, but I think in Kenya, because our constitution has opened the space for public participation, and therefore the process was a little bit quicker because then we could compel feedback using the law. So depending on where you're coming from, it takes some time. I wouldn't say that it can take you longer or shorter, but what I can promise you that there are stages that you'll have to go until you have a full prototype that you can test, that you can pioneer and can work. Yeah.
And how many citizens are involved in those discussions, and in percentages, like what percentage of population responded to this?
So is it pioneer or just the project itself?
The project, yeah.
So I don't know if we have, I think the numbers were put there in the other slide, if you can go back. Elisa? Yes. So we have, in the platform, we have right now the 25,000 who've actively registered and engaged. So what that means? That means that from 2020, now around 5 years or so, we probably have reached around 50,000 to 60. So which means that out of the 50, it means that half have just registered on the platform. Half might have seen it and say, security, time to register, maybe challenges, or either way, there are reasons as to why they did not register. But now we can account for 25,000, where if we put a survey, we put, a circular, we put an announcement from government, we are either clear that they will interact, that they will give us their feedback in the platform. And therefore also that strengthens us to speak to government. We are just lucky, or maybe, that the government of Nairobi quickly noticed that they have a challenge in terms of getting young people to participate. And therefore they say the best way is technology. Anyone who offers technology, we will embrace. So I think that is how we go to government.
Great. Amazing, thank you.
Thank you so much. I will give you the floor to Jose Alejandro. He is asking a question for Silvia. So to give you the floor to everyone and to guarantee this interaction, please, Jose, let us know your question, and then we will pass again to Ivana, who had a question also for Silvia. So Jose, please, if you want to ask aloud.
Thank you. I will try to speak. It's because I'm sick, but I think I can do it. I feel good now. I wanted to ask about, like, always there's an issue when you try to do any surveys, and here talking about participatory budgeting, of how do you actually represent all the people, and here when you involve experts, that's a great, I think that it's a great idea that you involve them and that you have these scenarios, but I think that it's quite how to say it, like it can be like a difficult how to involve all the opinions, like from the experts and from the public, from every people, and that you assure that this is the decision of the whole community. I don't know if I can, if it's if you can understand me, my question.
Yes, thank you. And you related that to my past life in survey business, right? Yes, I think because we have worked in the survey industry, I think we in Brazil, and many colleagues from Delibera, co-founders, are also with this background. I think we have an interesting view about representativeness in the mini publics and citizen assemblies. I think there are two layers there. One, and we have discussed that a lot in Resurgente's program with the colleagues. One is that it's not a statistical matter. We are not talking about, when we talk about participation, we are not talking about statistical matters, because at least in mini publics and citizen assemblies, we have small groups, and even in participatory budgeting, I think we are not talking about millions. We are talking about maximum thousands. In a city of São Paulo, for example, that's very small proportion of the population. But we are talking about inclusion, and we are talking about balancing power, right? So I think it's much more political than statistical, but you have to be transparent on that. You have to say and do it very well done. Like, you want to have 50% of a citizen assembly of non-white people. You have to say why. I think it's nobody's gonna question, but you have to say that you chose to do that, and how you get to this to happen. Like in Bujaru, we said that, in Resurgentes, we said that we wanted over-representing the traditional communities, the quilombolas, the indigenous, and we did a very well-done procedure to engage this, to invite them, and to show and demonstrate that this was done in a transparent, and systematic way. So I think we have to make a homework to think how this can be done, to give a political principle for the representativeness, but also how to get it done, because it's not trivial to get participation of some groups. You have to work a lot, go there, talk to them, go to the houses, spend money doing that, and governments sometimes don't want to spend money and time doing that. So this is a part. But the other thing that is important is the sortition event, because when you get a large group, representative group, with all these controls that you chose politically to have, but then you do the sortition event. You get people by random in that list. And this is so important, because you show that everybody who was interested, they are not participating because they want, but because they were selected randomly. So they had the lucky to be in the citizen assembly. And this is very important in our process. These people who were selected randomly, they feel responsible for those who were not. And this makes a lot of difference. And about participatory budget, I would say that it's another kind of participation. It has open space. Citizen assemblies and mini publics are very controlled spaces. It's not whoever wants to participate who participates. Participatory budget, you want people more and more to participate. How to ensure inclusion? It's a lot of work. I think I always say that in the digital participation, and I heard Daniel talking about that, not only open the space for participation, but go after people. Go after them in their houses, in their public spaces. I think Sanskriti, our colleague from India, is here. She has done very good work there doing that. So thank you. And Ivana, if I may, well, let's hear your question because it's interesting.
Yeah, I mentioned that we had some sort of initiatives from that budgeting, like from ground up in Novi Sad during the 70s, because I think that one of the bridges and one theater building was built in that way. So basically, citizens agreed, yeah, we want to build this. It will cost this much, and then it was divided that everyone contribute equally, and in that way, you build it. So I think it's a good way to kind of avoid, because I was thinking about what you're talking about, those when citizens are deciding about on the budget, but on the budget that the government is proposing, you can only influence redistribution of resources and not allocating for precise purpose that you really want. So I wonder if you tried something like that, for citizens to actually fund the specific initiative. Do you have experience with that?
Well, from what I'm not an expert but from what I know about PB, participatory budgeting, I know that there is a previous phase there where you can present proposals and have them voted, right? So maybe that would be a way. But I think you made another observation about these public citizens spaces, whether not public spaces that it would be public spaces that would be owned by citizens and not by the government, but the public, the state.
Yeah.
And I think in your two questions, I think there is a latent question that is about what is public, in fact, that sometimes I think I am particularly in a moment of reflection about that, because we are all working to fit into the political system, the political institutions, the partidarian politics and government decisions. But maybe we should think more about democratic action in the communities themselves and trying to, I think it's a political option too. Like you say, okay, this political system doesn't work, I don't want to deal with them. I will work in my own democratic system in my community, in my place, in my city, and raise a public life without government, without parties, without elections. It's a dilemma, I think. I am very confused about that nowadays. I am getting really tired to try to fit into political system.
Ivana, you are mute. You can.
Yes, sorry. Thank you. So it seems like it's a lot more work to make them better than to just build the new system from ground up. I mean, in the sense that, for example, because now we are all faced with environmental challenges, and I think we need to have more efficient way to preserve any natural resources and nature in general. So we need to have some stronger mechanism that is not just, I'm voting and I vote and I let politician do whatever he wants for the next 4 years, right? There must be some red line there. What can they do and not do, in a sense of natural resources that should be prevented for forever. I mean, for future generations. So I feel like if we could manage to kind of put some sort of citizens assembly in those kind of public companies, kind of any sort of institution that is dealing with this, that in a sense we would have bigger control over what is happening, and we would be empowered in a sense to block any harmful decisions.
Just one word more in this, Melissa, thank you, sorry.
Yes.
In Bujaru, the problem is not political will. I mean, the mayor, the secretary, they want to do things, but they don't have budget. Really, the city doesn't have budget. And even the state level government doesn't have budget to implement the recommendation. So we are talking about with partners to do a project where we can get the citizens' recommendations straight to climate financing actors, like funds, and straight to the level of the money. So, and ask them, okay, what can you do for Bujaru? Let's see.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivana, for your questions, and Silvia for answering. Also, Danielle, thank you so much for your comments. Now we will pass to another activity that we prepared for you. Bene will share by chat and link for a Mentimeter activity. The idea is have two interaction around two specific questions. We want everyone answer, and also that the speakers try to interact between them around how do you do it. Okay, so the first question is about in your social, cultural, political context, what are the main challenge when design deliberative process? You can think in from your experiences for all the work you have in your organization. We know that in each country, those challenge could be different. So it would be very nice to map what kind of challenge we have to design this kind of deliberative process. So we will invite you to go to the Mentimeter and start to put words or short sentences answering this question. Please let us know if it's working for you.
Amelie, if you go a little back, you can also share the QR so people can join us. But with the link I send you, it should be right away.
Yes, the words are appear now. So we have political will, citizens' trust until now, lack of PD and BB. The person maybe who put it can amplify this idea to know what it means, PD and DD.
Yeah, sure. It was me. I was thinking about a lack of participatory democracy or deliberative democracy mechanisms that can actually be implemented, because not in all, like in deciding. So it's there are no ways. For some things you need to have to change the city's constitution or something to actually be implemented. So as for Serbia, we don't have any legal or binding documents that can make decision makers actually use these mechanisms.
Great, thanks. I will read some of the challenge if you want and put other kind of challenge that you have faced. Of course, you can do it. No, also the speakers, all the participants are invited to do it. We have a political will that is the most popular or big challenge until now. We have also corruption, explicit choices, social context, visibility, political mechanisms, lack of PD that Aleksandra explained, citizens' trust, also implemented citizens' will, lack of information, but also lack of acknowledgement, and people involvement. Around this challenge, we want to ask you if you already face it and how you do it. If in your organization or your deliberative practice, you already have faced this type of challenge, and we want to know how you face it. So I will give you the floor to talk a little bit about this. Again, not only the speakers, everyone who wants to speak, you are able to do it.
About political will, and Aleksandra, I'd love to make you in touch with the political leaders who have joined us in our experiences here in municipalities here in Brazil. They are inspiring, and they can help you to convince your political leaders. But yes, one strategy that we have used here in Brazil, and I think it worked very well, was to make these open calls for cities and political leadership who wanted to do it. Because instead of going to those you think it's good and asking them to do it, you say, okay, we want to help you to do it. Who wants to do it? And then you can have good surprises to find how many democratic leaders you have in your country who are willing to do that. And then you start doing demonstration cases, and this builds up. So, because we never received a proposal from a government, not so far. Oh, I want to do a citizen assembly. How can I do it? No, we always went to them. We offered the process. And it's much, much better to work with those who came through these open calls instead of those who we approached without this process before.
Yeah, I think this is some political goodwill. Now, I think from our experiences, when you support a community or a citizen project that brings people together in the assembly, in the communities, I think the representatives or the politicians would want to be part of it for either way, to try to understand community needs, and also for their own political reasons, to try to see what are other political threats to their interests. So I think by the fact that Civic Voices was supporting in community public participation, then also compels the local politicians to be part of community success, and the presence would want to maintain their presence. So I think through that collaboration, that was a very good way of just making sure that the program is not turning political or taking political sides, remaining a public participation and democracy process, but also engaging the political actors as stakeholders. The other thing is, one thing that works with government is that the county government now communicates to the assembly representatives to avail their presence in communities wherever we go. So I think that has been one way, the experiences as we were designing, presenting to them, onboarding them, mixing them with the communities, and throughout. So I think that is how we were able to manage the political will.
Great. Thank you so much for your experiences. Maybe someone else want to add something about the way you face this type of challenge?
Yeah, I can add if no one of the participants want to share anything. Yeah. I want to add up on everything. We faced everything. The lack of information or the education of citizens to actually know their rights and possibilities. So that's why we chose to work with high school students, because we believe that once they grow up with all these mechanisms and how to say, the way of thinking as normal, like as something that is very part of their lives and that they should use it in everyday life, then they will grow up to be very active citizens and act responsibly and accordingly to everything that is happening in their city or their country. But also we realize that there is so little information coming from formal education system to students or to people that how actually they can use their rights and how they can be directly involved. There are some good mechanisms in the city of Novi Sad or on national level, but nobody knows of them because it's not in the interest of the decision makers, I would say, to promote these mechanisms and to actually be educate people how to use them, I would say. So that's why we said, okay, we will go to high schools and maybe educational part will be on our back, on our responsibility.
Thank you so much, Aleksandra. So we want to move on to the next interaction and the last one to close this session. We want to know about decisions, and we want to ask you what are the most effective ways of ensuring that decisions reflect the consensus and the needs of the participants. Because we know we have a very interesting deliberative process between different profiles of participants, but the difficult about these spaces is guaranteed that in the time of the decision-making process, these decisions reflect the consensus and the willingness of the participants. So we want to know what have been the most effective ways to ensuring this. Bene will help us again to share the link again to answer this question. Go ahead, Silvia.
Yes, just to add something, maybe we can think of ways, effective ways, but also we can think of maybe strategies or a tool that can help us guide like this sessions and reaching consensus or decision making. So it is more like a practical like reflection on how we can really enrich the process with tools or with strategies for ensuring this decision making.
So we will invite you to answer this question. And also, if you want to comment something about it, you have the microphone open to do it. We have inclusion, deliberation, and informing. Perfect.
Nobody else wants to add something on this? I think it's a really tricky and difficult question also.
No, actually, if you press with the single word, then you can't do the next two words. So you have to think your choices. That's why it's taking some time.
Go ahead, Sanskrit.
We also have shared rules affecting effective facilitation, that it's a very important way to ensure that the decision reflect the consensus. Also, we have leveraging technology, following mechanisms, media, and also transparent comms. We also have another elements that will be clear alternatives and direct democracy. If maybe someone want to amplify those ideas, you can talk about it. Same, the invitation here is to talk about from experience. So if you already have a story about how you implement these effective ways to ensure that this decision reflects the consensus, it will be very, very helpful to listen.
Actually, if people have tools to share, I would love to see them, read them, whatever, the actual methods.
Yes, it will be very nice. Jose, do you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I want to share an experience that we have where we have we try to influence the municipal development plan. So we facilitate like a participatory workshop where we try to involve other organizations like local organizations that have they work in a variety of human rights, from women's rights, housing, diversity, and another. So we try to come together all these demands or all these causes, and so we try to form like an alternative development plan so we can have a dialogue with the government. So this was I think an example, a way that we try to reflect the needs of participants, where there's an issue of representativeness, because all these organizations, you cannot assure that they actually represent all the people, but they are represent specific demands that are important in this local context. So maybe it can be helpful.
Go ahead, Silvia, if you want to say it in aloud.
No, I just put in the chat some resources. Sorry. Mosaic Labs facilitation guide is great. And but I think something general about facilitation, when I wrote effective facilitation, I think, and also clear alternatives, that's it. I mean, well, first, I should share with you that we have never had a struggle in our process about many different issues. Like we have never had like participants fighting against each other in the deliberation phase. Agreement comes, it's not natural, but it's kind of cumulative. People start with their own ideas and then they learn and then they see the problem and then they think about everybody who is outside the room and then they start agreeing on things. I mean, really, we never saw polarization, political polarization having effects into a deliberation process so far in Brazil. It's amazing, but that's what happened. And I think one of the facilitation missions is to always bring back to the room the difficult choices that are being made and and trying to help the group to have a clear vision of the interests in game. Like, who wants that? Not who from the participants, but which stakeholders want this way? Which stakeholders want that way, and why? And then we have all the procedures. We bring experts, we bring the stakeholders to the room to interact with participants, but the facilitation has this mission to make clear for the participants the choices that they are making. I think, and then consensus is built.
Thank you, Silvia. Yes, we were just talking with Melissa on a process we're accompanying in Nigeria with Street Project Foundation, an organization based in Nigeria. And they told us that often on this type of process of citizen participation, normally there are a lot of conflicts between the civil servants or the government representatives and citizens, not as violent ones, but as the government represents like the power and some conflicts around the political issues. So they often face like conflicts when coming into these spaces. And I think like it's really nice to hear a lot of voices of how to really like reach consensus, but also what strategies are useful for helping deliberation when there's a lot of feelings around politics and also wanting to change the realities, etc. So it's really nice like to hear about how can we reach consensus in these spaces and also face polarization. So just to end and wrap up with this discussion, I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in and make like a final reflection onto.
Ivan has a comment on chat. I don't know if you want to do it aloud. Ivana?
Yeah, maybe I can just shortly, because I put that media part and I actually should put independent media because that's the biggest problem we are facing here. Because when you don't have independent media, that, for example, in Novi Sad we have one portal that is helping people to be more aware of the problems, of the issues, of the what's wrong locally. But most of other cities don't really have that, and it's much harder than to get people together around the same issue. If some of them are not aware that issue exists, or what is the solution, what is the problem. So media plays great role, and they should be kind of supported by the citizens financially.
There's also this lack of trust sometimes comes in the way, that even if we agree on something, such an option may not actually be workable because they have such little faith in the government, so they don't agree to go for the best option sometimes.
Okay, thank you all so much for this. I'm going just to share my screen for a second. So, well, just to wrap up this session with a lot of excitement about your participation. I know there are still many questions flowing between us. I would like to invite you to continue the conversations, like among yourselves and between each organization. For now, we would like to present this map that we are building and putting all the organizations that are being part of the South-South Swaps, but also of the Demo.Reset project. Our will is that you can connect directly with each organization and ask all of these questions, or join in generating solutions to a common challenge. So I'm going to share the screen and share with you the Padlet. So if you enter, you can go into this plus option, and you can search for your name. Search for a place, and then put your organization into this collective map. So Meli has just shared the link. So just to end this session, I would like to thank you all the speakers for sharing their challenges and their ways of dealing with them, also for your experiences. To Aleksandra for sharing her experience through the arts and with participatory budgeting in schools, and her engagement with young people. Also to Daniel, he had to leave us, but for his approach to empowering citizens through this digital platform, and to Silvia also for bringing us back to a super down-to-earth approach to linking citizen to new process of management scenarios, and starting like these new links between civil servants and also with citizens that had never been involved in this kind of scenarios. So to all of you, to your approaches to process design and to decision making, you are all generating inclusive scenarios, extending citizen participation to all audiences, and at the same time together, like generating a culture of deliberation and also a democratic culture. So thank you all for sharing your experience. We are happy to constantly learn from everyone. After this session, we will share the main insights, tools, etc., on our social medias and also through our WhatsApp groups. So please stay in touch and look forward for these tools that we will share with you. And please, please, please join to this map.
Great. Thank you, Silvia.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Aleksandra, good luck.
See you.
I must say it was really a very engaging session. I really loved this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
It was. Thank
Me
you.
too.